The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 29th day of August, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamel Hartman. He's Philip Trott, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Phil, it's Monday. I see you have your Bayless Bay red on. Give it to me,
My Bayless Bay red on. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Bay Club.
Yeah. Let's give it to him again. Bayless Bay did what first Leanna's team, Flats Victoria, couldn't do. Then Bayless Bay did what Sheriff's team, Cleveland County Cricket Club, couldn't do. Yes, Bayless Bay.
Shout out Trey Manders.
Trey Manders, another. They tell me it's his third successive century, huh?
Hey man, when you're boiling, you're boiling.
Man. Gee, look, I'm just saying, the cup's where it belongs. The cup's where it belongs, and you know, I appreciate Phil wearing his red today. I just had to check. I want to make sure that it wasn't a change of heart after cup match. I needed.
No, that was kind of disrespectful for you to ask me that.
Okay. Sorry. I know some people like that.
No.
I've been accused, but it ain't really me, folks. But no, congrats to Bayless Bay, everybody. Bayless Bay supporters, friends, family. I'm gonna call out Fire Wayne put up a tweet. Let me find that tweet there, brother Phil. Let me find that tweet real fast.
What was he saying? He was talking trash.
Oh, he was. Let me find. Let me just.
That's not like Wayne.
Fire Wayne put up a tweet. He said, why all the Bay people think they're gonna win today? St. David's fans, please update this tweet when it's over, please. Well,
that thing is like spoiled milk.
I responded to him and I said, this didn't age well. Waiting on your congratulations to Bay. Full stop. So
full stop. Oh, he said full stop.
Oh, yeah. I said full stop. Apparently, nobody's seen Fire Wayne on Twitter since. So anybody you see Fire Wayne, give him a big red and white hug in honor of Bayless Bay. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yes, Charlotte Fox. Yes, well done. Bay all day. Nicole Walker says BBCC all day. Shawnette Bell, Tanya Cheeseman, Bayless Bay all the way. I didn't realize we had so many Bay fans into his house. Let's do it anyway. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today, as we discussed this past weekend's Bermuda Pride events. Before focusing on the foreign firefighters that were recently hired, the Daily Players are who said it. So easy one, little famous quote for Phil, but. Let's get right into it. So obviously, Connie, however you choose to say it, did take place this weekend, but it wasn't the only big event that took place. And I'll just put the question out first before I even get into it. The question of the morning is, what can we learn from Bermuda Pride weekend of events? And what do I mean by that? Well, I don't know if you all saw it. What is Nicole Golden's business called? Sorry.
Urban Cottage.
Urban Cottage. So there was an Instagram post by Nicole Golden, who a concerned business. Her business was impacted by the events, the parade happening one Saturday at a time where basically she said she didn't make any money, right? Then there was there was Dr. Maria Seaman. Trevor Lindsay of TNN basically had a conversation with Dr. Seaman at Fort Hamilton, where she was very vocal. Her interest seemed to be about the Pride events. And she was very vocal about people taking the rightful place, and pretty much calling the activities at Victoria Park evil. So I guess we're at a place right now where we need to ask ourselves, what can we learn from Bermuda Pride events? What is there we can take away? Let me be clear right now in saying this. Disagreement doesn't equate to hate. Let's just put that out there. Disagreement does not equate to hate. However, the way some individuals do disagree may do that. I myself, just to put it out there, this platform is a community platform. We will have Bermuda Pride. We will have Dr. Seaman on. Dr. Seaman has never been on this platform and come across angry or, maybe expressed herself in the way she did with Trevor. She's never done that on this platform. And for the most part, Bermuda Pride, they've been extremely respectful. They haven't tried, at least on this platform, to shove their beliefs down anyone's throat. Why do I say that? It seems like when we get in certain spaces, both sides seem to be a bit loose, per se. Loss of respect for the individuals. Both sides. Both sides. So let me just explain something. So I have concerns with Bermuda Pride, but I also have concerns with Dr. Seaman. But I'm going to start with my concerns. What can we learn from Bermuda Pride? We can learn that racism runs deep in Bermuda. We can learn that racism is very deep in Bermuda, and Black people are continuously guilted into they need to support other events.
They're gonna say you pull the race card all the time.
And that's what they do. But I'm gonna be clear. And look, if it offends people, my good mornings do that, so I'm okay with that. Right? What I want to touch on, just bring up my notes here, because I don't, bring up my notes, brother Phil.
I get offended every time you pop up on the camera.
Yeah. Many people do. All of them. But something, and I asked Olatunji Tucker, who was on last week, is, what's being done to attract more Black Bermudians to the Pride events? And, he said, there's an educational component. They're, working on inclusiveness. Now, you all know how I feel about inclusiveness. You know how I feel about equality. I'm not down with it. I am not down with it. I don't believe in equality. I don't believe in inclusion. I believe in equity. I believe in justice. Why do I want justice and equity? Because justice and equity shakes things up systemically.
Just for the benefit of everybody, just distinguish between when you say equality and equity.
Equity and equality. So equality means pretty much, okay, we all get $10.
Right. Okay.
Well, $10 to me doesn't necessarily mean the same much as $10 to Joe down the street. Why?
Right.
Because Joe, based on the historical aspect and systemic system, the system doesn't have the need for $10 like I do, because they had a platform to be on.
Okay.
So I'm more interested in addressing the inequities and injustice, so that if we really want an equal platform, then that's the way to do it. Right?
So equity, what you're saying is basically equity is a better path to equality instead of just saying
no, it's to justice. Let's for instance, reparations would be equity and justice. Mm-hmm. But reparations will give it to Black people and not whites, whereas equality includes everybody. You can't include everybody in the same thing unless it benefits everyone in the same way.
Right. Okay.
So I touch on that, folks. And the question is, what can we learn from Bermuda Pride weekend events? Is It's so easy to call the church hypocrites, which I don't disagree. There are hypocrites in the church. Remember, I say on the show all the time, we're all hypocrites. But it's so easy to call the church hypocrites, right? But to me, I see so much hypocrisy amongst the white liberal pushing causes. I see so much hypocrisy, and we don't challenge it the same. We don't challenge it the same. We go along with this and think that they support us. We saw it in the United States of America when white women, majority, voted for President Trump. And then afterwards, they want to march like, oh, they're now being attacked. No, player. Black women were here.
They're now marching for abortion rights.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So, we see it all the time. Now, then some people want to say, oh, Seaman should focus on adultery and domestic violence and rapists and this. Well, first off, I don't disagree that these are things that we should be speaking up publicly. The difference is, I'm not quite sure anyone is out marching and having a parade and fighting for adultery to be legal or domestic violence to be legal or rapists or rape to be legal. I don't think that's being done. So the comparison is stupid and disingenuous, right? Now, I, for one, made a mistake, Phil. My mistake was I tuned Dr. Seaman out because of the energy. And a friend of mine, she's married to a woman, she said no. She actually made some valid points. And I remember people tuning Bermudians Against the Draft out because I'll turn. They did it to Malcolm X. They did it to Dr. King. I was guilty of behaviors I don't agree with, Phil. So I went back and watched and listened to Dr. Seaman. And, she made some valid points. She spoke of the bullying taking place in our schools. She spoke about the government selling the country off. I mean, when a government runs so poorly, I mean, that's last resort. It's like Manchester United overpaying for players because they wait so long to get business done. It's either arrogance or incompetence or a combination of both. But the point is, she made some valid comments and valid points. But because we've been conditioned to dismiss people based on their passionate perspective on one thing, we erase everything else. But let me tell you what bothers me the most. It bothers me that black people are out in Bermuda. Black people are out fighting against each other, right? Arguing in public. I'm guilty of it too, about these things. But you remember what happened January 6th and all hell broke loose in Washington, D.C. and all those memes, black folks stay out, it's got nothing to do with you. I can't remember a time in my life in Bermuda where white people have been at the front of causes going back and forth in my lifetime. In my lifetime. In my lifetime. And let me just make one more thing clear, because audience, you still haven't answered. What can we learn from Bermuda Pride weekend of events? Right now is the safest time to support LGBTQ+. The safest and popular. Why? Because if you don't support publicly, if you go against it, you'll be blackballed. It's safe. It's safe. Look at the sponsors. I asked Alatunji last week. I said people will sponsor with what they value and align with. Folks, there's a lot we can learn from this. What I will ask of Dr. Maria Seaman publicly right here, I will say, what's that old saying Glenn Blake needs to say to me? You catch more bees with honey than
yeah.
I would tell her, take a different approach because it's not working. And it comes across very, very bad to people that you're probably trying to get in.
Would you say that to the Pride community as well? Or?
I don't feel like, and this is my personal opinion, tell me wrong. I don't think the Pride community has been as angry and venomous. My only problem with Pride it seems like it's a issue of white liberals, right? That does not support black issues. And that's fair. But if you're going to call the church hypocrites, accept your hypocrisy too.
Right.
That's my issue.
I think that's for me, that's my issue too. Like at the end of the day, I feel like when it comes, everybody is concerned about issues that affect them.
Correct.
Right. Being a black male in Bermuda, I'm concerned with issues that affect black men in Bermuda. I know that not everybody cares about my issues, right? And I know that some people might be actively fighting against my issues, like things that I want to see happen. My thing is that if I know that there are people doing that, I'm not going to march with them on an issue that we might jointly have in like it might something that will affect both of us, or something that we both have interest in. If at the end of the march everybody goes home, you're gonna come back and not support me on something that affects me. Like I'm always wondering, like with people that are out there marching against again, like marching with the in the Pride March, how many of those people were like laughing that somebody's grandmama got pepper sprayed?
See,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
So when you're out there marching with these guys and everybody's happy and waving flags and whatever, like.
But it's popular. Again, Phil, it's popular. It's not the cause to me. I think it's popular to do so. It's popular. It's safe. I don't think it's about the cause. You're not at risk of being pepper sprayed or attacked. You're comfortable. You feel me? You're comfortable. If anything, it would be people who oppose. And again, I'm fine with it. But as a community, what my hope is that folks like Dr. Seaman, even people like the retailers, can sit with folks, and I think there's common ground. There's common ground. I say it all the time. If I talk about you on this show and you have that much of an issue, you are welcome to come on and have a conversation. We're not here to literally just have conversations without you. No, this platform's open. But I'm challenged as to the way the fights work. My love is not going to change for somebody because of their sexuality. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's neither here or there. What I'm concerned about is the approach to our community as a whole. And it's if you look at what takes place, and I asked this question last week, you see the pictures. It looks white. And that it speaks to the underlying issues in our community. Let's not be fooled. Nachika Trot says, I would like to see the same energy put into Pride with banners, lights on buildings and flags, etc. With Bermuda Day, I would like to see Happy Bermuda Day banners, pink lights on buildings, etc. Interesting. Dr. Seaman, proud to have you in the audience. I am. And like I said earlier, when we first started, you made a lot of valid points, and I was guilty of tuning you out the first time around because of the energy. But I tell you what, my own hypocrisy was called out, and I went and listened, and you made extremely valid points. But we need to shift the energy. We need you're a school teacher, you know better than I, but we need to shift the energy. We need to shift the energy because I tell you what, Leanna, Phil, Sherry, Sancha, Larry, Maya, I don't think they're going to take kindly to me if I come across in a tone that's not approachable. I mean, the audience, I may do that, but not them. Nicole Walker says, delivery is everything. We can voice our beliefs and concerns without all that hostile energy, and it will most likely be received better. Both sides need to respect the other's feelings. Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, again, and this is what bothered me about some of the responses to Dr. Seaman. I have it written here.
Are these like comments?
Yeah, comments people made.
But that's why.
The comparisons are unfair and unfortunate. They're unfortunate. And the unfortunate part is, Phil, again, I don't know. Phil, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't see anyone marching for domestic violence. I don't see anyone marching for rapists. I don't see anyone marching
to make domestic violence legal.
Right. I don't see that. So I think it's the argument's weak. It's actually ridiculous and sad that would be something that someone would bring up. Dr. Seaman says passion is always seen negative when it's from certain people. Well, Dr. Seaman, who knows that more than Bermudians Against the Draft? There was only one pastor out fighting for that. Had a great chat with him last night about all of this, actually. I don't think it's negative, though, Dr. Seaman. But Dr. Seaman, in the interest of not going back and forth, I don't think it's necessarily negative. I don't think it's helpful. What I'm saying is, I don't think that the way your approach, and I've learned this from Bermudians Against the Draft, if you're looking for public support, then we have to look at how we're approaching things. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if Phil differs on that.
No. I totally agree with that.
Now, that said, as I stated, I want to say this. I want to say this one thing about hypocrisy. Speaking to Pastor Larry Marshall Sr. last night, and I said, you know, that's the only church I really go to when I'm in Bermuda, by the way, folks, for various reasons. Because the church remained silent on conscription and sexual assault and abuse when we were fighting, right? Even had pastors in our face going up there and praying and doing a bunch of things. But let me say this. Remember a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, when a Christian missionary went to an island in the Indian Ocean, an interview that people were asked not to go to. And he was murdered. The tribe murdered him, right? And there were people, and I took names and notes, but I'm not going to say the names today. There were people in Bermuda. Oh, that's what people get for going and trying to put their beliefs on others. Yeah? So if that's the case, then why is it if someone like Dr. Seaman is trying to protect what she believes is her culture and her island from certain beliefs and behaviors, why were you okay with that tribe protecting theirs? You see the hypocrisy? You see where I'm going? Think about that, folks. Think about that. Why are we okay in that instance, but it's wrong here? This is not justifying, it's just a question. It's just a question. At the end of the day, this is all about perspective. I'm not saying that my beliefs are right in all of this. I'm just simply, I want us to ask questions. I believe there's a better way. After all was said and done with conscription, we believe there was a better way. I'm not quite sure the way we're doing it now is in the best interest of everyone. All right, let's go to some more comments. Phil, we've got Barbara Ann Thorne.
Yeah, this the one I was just looking at. She says, consider your audience. My mom likes to write in capital letters, especially about religious stuff, because she says she's passionate. I can't stand it, and I refuse to read messages written in all caps she may be sending.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would have been guilty of that. I couldn't though, Phil. Like I was guilty of that. We miss out on some very important information when we diss the messenger, right?
But I think too, Barbara Ann's point there is part of that is being missed is some people write in caps, all caps, because they think it's easier to read. And when I read that stuff, I'm like, why are you shouting in my WhatsApp? You know what I mean? So it's one side may not be realizing that they are coming across as abrasive to somebody else, and the other person may not be realizing like, well, that's just how they type. You know what I mean? Which again, another part of that is I very much love social media and I very much hate social media, and part of it is because some of that stuff gets lost in translation. You know, and I also want to say that some of the people that might be commenting on Dr. Seaman's video and saying like really outrageous, insulting stuff, they wouldn't talk to her like that in public.
In person, yes. But that's the thing. That's the thing. I've learned to observe. But here's one thing I say before we go to the news break, because Liana's waiting to do the news. You said you love and hate social media, right? There are a lot of people, and again, remember what I said, it's popular to support the LGBT cause right now. It's popular. There are a lot of people who literally go on social media, go on video, write a post, simply to do what Dr. Seaman said. They're looking for love. Young people are going on social media right now. If they don't got a certain amount of likes on a picture, they delete the post.
The picture comes down, yeah.
Right? There are people, grown adults over 50, who go on social media literally for validation. I tell you what, Phil, every morning I come on this show, I could care less whether people like what I say. I'm not here for the validation. I'm here to have conversations. I'm here so that we can discuss things that impact our community for the greater good. Some of the things that we discuss are not going to make us all comfortable. They actually may offend some people. But when you're not interested in popularity, when you have a conscience and you're interested in having conversations that you can believe can improve the community, you know what comes with the territory. I'm always interested in how people approach social media. Always interested. I tell you what, if you ain't making $1 off it, all it is something that makes you feel good, if that makes sense. Let's bring Liana into the conversation. Liana's got yellow on, so I guess she's not cheering for Bayless Bears' victory over the weekend. Good morning, Lee. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. I heard your cheap shot earlier about, the fact that Flats couldn't do it and Cleveland couldn't do it. I'm going to sit here. Congratulations, Phil. Congratulations. That's all I want to say. I'm a team player. I'm not a sore loser or anything like that. I could appreciate a good match. But, Jamal, with his comments, he was coming with violence in a chat group this weekend. I had to kind of just say, you know what? Let me take a step back, breathe.
Well, Lee, last week I let you off because
you did.
Liverpool lost.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
But,
in all fairness, we came back this week and
thank you very much.
Good 9-0, 9-0 win. I mean, over Bournemouth. Come on now. Don't fail to mention that.
Beating Bournemouth 9-0 is like me beating a toddler in basketball.
Hey,
come on.
Hey,
well,
listen,
that toddler still might have an advantage.
That toddler deserved it.
Yeah, I you know what? We're going to do this because she's just dissing me now, Phil. She's dissing me now. Folks, we've got a lot more to talk about. We'll continue the conversation about the pride, but we also have a very, and this is part of what Dr. Seaman was saying as well, not just the pride, but there's a situation involving some non-Bermudian firefighters. We need to figure out why Bermudians are not getting in that space. Lee, you ready for the news break?
Let's do this.
All right, over to you.
Thanks, Jamal and Phil. Good morning and happy Monday to everyone that's tuned in with us today. It is the beginning of the traditional work week, and I hope everyone is ready for this day. I'm Liana Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, tragic news to begin our newscast this morning after police responded to a report of a lifeless body that washed ashore on a beach in Warwick last evening. Now, authorities say that a 63-year-old man is believed to have been swimming in the area shortly before 6 p.m. yesterday, prior to the discovery of his body near Aswood Walk in Warwick. Police had cordoned off the area whilst the scene was being processed, and an investigation surrounding the circumstances of his death has begun. An autopsy is anticipated to determine the exact cause of death. The Bermuda Police Service is appealing to anyone who may have been in the area, in particular the beach area known as 100 Steps Beach, to call 211. No further information will be given until the next of kin have been notified. In other news, if you haven't already done so, it's not too late to get the COVID vaccine, but supplies are limited. Yes, yesterday, a government spokesperson said that 1,000 doses of the drug are now available on the island after the manufacturer extended the shelf life of old supplies. Now, the drug was prior being placed in cold storage in June after they had passed their sell-by date. Health Minister Kim Wilson said, fortunately, the leftover doses were not destroyed at the end of the mass vaccine program last month that sought to vaccinate 70% of the island's population with 2 doses. Now, according to the minister, these doses have been well preserved in a sealed box in their ultra-low temperature freezer, and they are available from this week through participating pharmacies and GP offices. Now, it is said that manufacturers did stability tests on their vaccine post-marketing, and it has been shown that the vaccines remain stable for longer than originally anticipated. And as we previously mentioned, yes, it was Bailey's Bay Cricket Club who successfully dethroned St. David's during the final round of the Eastern County Cup match at Lord's Bay this weekend. Now, fans flew their red and white flags high following the thrilling match, which saw a guest player, Rodney Trott, who took 6 wickets after fellow guest player Trey Manders made an impressive 114 not out, as well as recording his 3rd century in successive innings. As much as it might hurt, we can certainly give props where props are due. So congratulations to all the players of Bailey's Bay for a well-deserved win. All we can say is, we'll see you next year. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 88 and a low near 80 degrees. It will be another hot and sunny day after 1 or 2 early showers. Now, the early clouds will clear to a fine, clear day. High pressure continues to be dominant with mostly dry and sunny weather over the region. However, daytime heating and light winds aid to the odd late afternoon to early evening shower. A series of weak lows then bring the increased potential for wet weather from Wednesday, so get your umbrellas handy. That's all for our Daily Hour news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now let's head back to Jamal and Phil in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
That was a lot. Condolences to the family of the person who washed up on shore. But did I hear all I'm going to say is I understand why people may be skeptical of vaccines. That's all. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going there this morning, but that's an interesting one. Phil, you got any days of the year for us?
Yeah, man. Today is International Human Rights Day. In honor of John Locke, whose philosophical writings argued for the rights of each single human being. Every human being, it should be afforded basic individual human rights, including life, liberty, property, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom to petition the government. Also, coincidentally, yesterday was the 59th anniversary of Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech.
Interesting.
April 28th, 1963.
I don't think I knew April.
Sorry, August. August.
60 years doesn't seem that far back, though. Like it doesn't seem like that.
You know what? I saw another quote. I saw another quote yesterday. It says the days are long, but the years go fast.
Yeah. No, it wasn't that long ago. Sherry was around back then. She could tell us.
See, man,
she's not even here to defend herself.
Ain't that the great part? Hey, Lee, we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow. Poor Sherry.
I'm sorry, Sherry. I didn't know you was going to do that.
Oh, boy. See you, Lee. All righty, folks. Leanna Lambert there. We're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere. Folks, we have another important conversation. Firefighters, medium firefighters, you want in on this. The question is, you can start putting your comments in now. What can we learn from the hiring of foreign firefighters? All right, stick with us. We'll be right back.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's. I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandy Town Field. Number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Philip Trott. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure you go on to our website, thedailyhour.com, and subscribe if you haven't already. You don't want to miss a chance for updates, prizes, promotions, and more. Also, if you're on the go and you can't watch us, you're driving, you don't want to miss us. Just download the BCG Radio app, available for Android and Apple devices, and you can listen to us every time we go live. All right. Cher's tuned in. She heard what you said. She said, "Leave me alone, Jamal."
Right? You see how she spelled your name too, right?
Yeah. She's just acting crazy. She's acting crazy.
You took that all fast, man.
Yeah. She's just rude, man. She's rude. But look, folks. First of all, thank you all for your contribution on this show. I just want to remind you, this show is not about. I don't have to be objective. Let me just be clear. Phil doesn't have to be objective. The only two people who have a responsibility to be objective on this show are the journalists, and they do a very good job of it. That's Liana and Maya. I'm not a journalist. I talk. I have opinions. We share them. That said, we appreciate your contribution because as the audience, you don't have to be objective. You have your opinions. We share them. My hope is that through these conversations, disagreements, we become a better people, a better community, a better society. Because I tell you what, we can't leave it up to the politicians. You know, I have one more thing before we move on. Dr. Seaman said that, God put these politicians in place. Well, Dr. Seaman, can we have a word with God? Because is that the best he could do for us? And I'm not joking. Like these people? Nah, we probably have, as I've stated before, one of the worst elected governments in Bermuda's history. So I'm going to disagree with you on that. But that said, so there was a story, Phil, last week. Been talking about it for months, but the government of Bermuda is to hire another 25 firefighters to staff the airport fire operations. This according to the Royal Gazette. Another 25 firefighters from overseas are brought to the island to bolster numbers at the airport fire station. Michael Weeks, the Minister of National Security, said that the contracts for 10 firefighters who came earlier to Bermuda will also be extended. All right, now this is until March 31st, 2023. The Bermuda Fire and Rescue has a responsibility due to its part in keeping the airport fully functioning for economic survival. The increase in staff numbers is essential to meet the standards which are required for commercial aircraft that regularly land in Bermuda. So let me stop there, right? Let me stop there. Obviously, the question Bermudians are asking is why do they have to hire non-Bermudians? Were there not any Bermudians who could do the job? Well, I found something and this is 2010, folks, so forgive me. I found something on Burn News. This is 2010. It's probably updated, so I couldn't find any updated information, but this is what I found. Hopefully you all can see this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make it a bit bigger. Let's see. All right.
And for those that's listening,
Sorry. Yes, Phil, those who are listening. So this was in 2010. It says, when a job, firefighters needed $55 a year. I'm hearing that it's much more than that now. But April 1st, 2010, according to Burn News, applicants must have had a high school diploma, GED. Okay, easy. pass fire services entrance exam, including a math test. I would have failed that. Be 18 years or older, no shorter than 5'5". Well, I know you always thinking it, but I would have passed that. I'm taller than 5'5". All right. 20/30 vision without correctors or colorblind. What's 20/30 vision, Phil?
I don't know. I know what 20/20 is.
Okay. Yeah. I've never heard of 20/30. A manual car driver's license.
Oh, I think 20/30 is probably slightly less than 20. Like, you can wear glasses, but it can't be like Coke bottle type stuff. I guess that's my guess. I don't know.
Okay. So 20/30, so manual car driver's license. That's difficult in this day and age. Now, I got my license in a manual car.
Yeah, me too.
But everyone's driving automatic now, so I can see that being an issue. Pass a drug test. Well, what drugs are we talking about? That needs to be clear. And obviously, if that's an issue, then we have bigger community issues. Pass the psychological test. I think this is important. Pass a physical fitness test comprising of a 3,200-meter run. On about all this fitness stuff. And then
we have plenty of guys that could do that.
Okay. I'm talking about me personally, but yeah, this is about the greater good of the community. And then you need to be able to complete an ability test, which includes a number of things. Right. So it's a 22-week training course to prepare for the rigors of the job. And based on this, the work hours, it looks like 42-hour work week consisting of 2 9-hour days, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And again, this is from 2010, folks, 2010. All right, so we see that. So the question of the morning, of the focus today is, what can we learn from the hiring of foreign firefighters? Now, I'm just going to turn straight to education. Is our education preparing young people? Are we meeting the conditions to prepare young people for the jobs that we need? We always talk about people going off to college or getting into the trades. We still need firefighters. We need police officers. We need customs people. Is the system currently preparing people for these jobs that we need? What can we learn from this, folks? What you got, Phil?
I don't know. I feel like and again, I'm glad you said this part about being objective, because I'm just going to be so not objective right now. But I feel like whenever something like this comes up, first thing we want to do is say, well, is education doing what it needs to do to, you really think our education system is that bad that we can't educate somebody enough to become a firefighter? And I am not knocking firefight. Like, it's a lot of critical thinking that has to go on in to be a firefighter. But come on, man. I saw some of that in the comments, and people talking about, where is it? If high schools can't produce students capable of becoming firefighters, i.e. blue-collar jobs, which are skilled and good, responsible union jobs, then we must also question the overall competency of the local school framework. Like, seriously? We're not putting out, like, complete dummies. We have people are graduating, like, people, you can't say that the education system is not doing enough to produce, so people can qualify for firefighter jobs, when people are leaving high school with associate's degrees. You know what I mean? So, like, that's just not good enough.
Let's see what the audience is saying. Michelle White says professions like firefighter, the small numbers required to fill it technically should be able to be filled by Bermudians, but if they don't have any, they have failed recruitment, education, and exposure. Interesting. Traveling Trotty says, what are some reasons we have not been able to hire? Psychological tests, drug tests, and educational tests, lack of training. This would assist in understanding the issues at hand. And I think this should be known, because I have read that people haven't been passing the test. People haven't been qualified. What did someone say? Only 3 of 80 something, right? Percentage wise, only 3 people went through, and Bermudians. That's not good.
You know what I wanted to say real quick that I did notice in the article. So they said they're bringing 25 people in at 2.8 million. It's going to cost $2.8 million. I did the math on that, right?
Mhm.
That works out to be $112,000 per person. So they're bringing in, and these are they're not going to bring in entry level people, right? They're going to bring in skilled, qualified firefighters that can hit the ground running, which means that if you're trying to attract 18-year-olds, that in 2010 it was $55,000. Let's say for sake of argument today its starting salary is $75,000. You're going from $75,000 to $100-something, right? Whereas you have other businesses, other careers that are starting training you at $75,000, and your career can go maybe up to $250,000. You know what I mean? So maybe the financial incentive is not there. I also don't know. I haven't seen too much being pushed. Maybe it's just me, but I haven't seen too much being pushed from the fire service
well, to that point, Wesley Robinson says these essential jobs are not pushed for people as a viable career path, and coupled with that, the pay is not as attractive as, say, underwriting or a lawyer, etc. It has nothing to do with education. Fair enough.
And even the police at least had like the gymkhana and were doing all that type of stuff. They were at least doing more to attract people to become police officers.
I think the fire have the fire week and stuff, and they have some events. Sam Cat Place says, without knowing the internal workings of the service can be objective, but you can't have unfit firefighters doing a critical job. But maybe the weed element should be reconsidered. Well, I mean, look, I'm a proponent of the plants and whatnot, but I'll say this: you want someone in the right state.
Yeah.
You want someone in the right state. Miriam Simmons says, my 24-year-old godson applied this year, non-smoker, non-drug user, player sports, passed everything, but was not chosen. That was very confusing. Interesting. Interesting. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I and again, I'm proponent of support plans as well, but I think also part of it is, if you are going to apply for a job, then you gotta know when to turn it off. And if you know like how long this stuff's gonna stay in your system or whatever the case, and you got a test coming up, then you gotta be mindful of that as well. So there's some responsibility on that part as well.
Yeah. Michelle White says, and let's just be clear, Michelle White is from a space where she does immigration for companies and brings people into Bermuda. So has a bit of expertise in the hiring space. But she says people are not preparing themselves for tough jobs. The overall fitness of our country is getting worse. Have you seen the police recruits running the street in Devonshire dragging their feet? There's so many factors. Look, let's be honest. There are certain jobs that pay people a lot more, a lot less stressful, with a lot less requirements. Let's be honest. Than a police officer or fire service. My hope is that this is an eye-opener for the country. We have to do better, and we have to push people into spaces, and not, I don't mean forcefully, but we have to find a way to encourage people to want to get into spaces of needs. Spaces of needs. At the end of the day, when it comes to international business, underwriting and reinsurance, insurance, when those companies merge, right, and jobs become less, you don't have that with the fire service. It's not gonna happen.
And I also think like some of the benefit, like you could improve the benefits of being a fire, a police officer or a firefighter. Like again, you're talking about reinsurance. One of the benefits, they say, we pay for your insurance, or we pay for. I know a lot of people go there because housing allowance and whatnot, right? Police officers, fire service. You know what? Okay, no payroll tax. You know what I mean? Like that. Think like something like that could be an incentive. And also, why when this conversation comes up, we always talk about what's wrong with these guys? They can't get that. They hire female police services, fire service too, Like, why aren't the women going into that field?
Well, I saw a few of them saying that they weren't 5'5". I'm just saying.
Okay.
And I remember, if I'm not mistaken, I won't say it wrong, but I remember my mom, I think she wanted to apply to be, was it a prison officer back in the day? My mom was only like 5 feet, right? So it was a no-go. And that was the first I understood that, your size meant something. Your physical stature meant something. Phil, take her these comments. We've got Wesley Robinson and Deb Ford.
Wesley says, we are also not in the business of cultivating our talent. We constantly send persons away to be qualified, but never send someone away to become the trainer to do it in-house. There's a lot of things that can be done that are not thought of. That's a good point as well. I do see that happening a lot. Deb Ford says, a family member applied, been in the regiment several years, met all criteria, and wasn't even given the dignity of acknowledgement.
I'm not sure. I don't want to go there, but never mind. I'm not going to do it. I'm just saying, the regiment versus police and versus.
No, I think they were saying. I think she was saying the family member had
met the criteria.
Yeah, not for regiment, but they were in the regiment and met. Physically, probably.
Okay, I read it differently.
Yeah,
I read
it.
If they
that's what I think she's saying.
So why didn't they meet it for the firefighter?
Right. That's what I think she's saying.
All right, let us know. Monica Johnson said there's a height requirement that some of us women don't make feel. Well, that's what I'm saying. I did see women saying that, and I wasn't being funny, folks. Honestly, I wasn't.
But funny. You know what? Then maybe, I don't know. Could they reduce it to like 5'3"? Obviously, men generally are taller than women, right? So the 5'5" shouldn't be across the board.
Not all of us, but go ahead.
I said generally. So maybe make it for women, make it 5'3".
Yeah. Carla John says, I hope the fire service is developing a comprehensive recruitment plan so this doesn't happen again. Those jobs would help more than individual firefighters. That income would help Bermudian families as well. Absolutely. Well, I think Carla John answers the question perfectly for what I was looking for, Phil, is what can we learn from the hiring of foreign firefighters? My simple answer is in everything she said. Number one, we need to figure out a way to ensure this never happens again. Develop a strategy and a plan and execute it so that this thing goes on and on and on. That's to me is what we should be doing. You want to take Renee Charlene Simmons?
Sure. That $2 million would have been well.
Can you read it from the side? It's just $2
million. Oh yeah. All right. That $2 million would have been well used if they put it towards Bermudians who applied and their only failure was passing the drug test. Use it to help them rehabilitate and pass drug testing, and their services will be permanent. Temporary firemen coming here and getting paid, and free housing is only a vacation for them. None will give up their life in USA to come to high cost of living in Bermuda permanently. And it is so. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It is a temporary situation. Hopefully, they while these guys are here, that and women, if they're hiring some women as well, are some of them training? Are some of them going to be helping with our recruiting practices? Like I hope all of that is being taken into account as well, so that when that time is up, we have qualified people in place to jump in when they leave.
Indeed. Samcat Place says the way things are on the island, we're going to need TED Talks on everything. Good grief. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, my concern is that we will bring in these firefighters, but will there be a plan to train Bermudians to fill these positions once they leave? That, what's it called? What's that planning called?
Succession planning.
Succession planning. Yeah. I've always, especially from my time in Bermuda tourism, had an issue with it. It's not something that's considered. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. I don't want to speak without thought, so I'll give some thought. Christine Pierman says, I agree with your opinions, Jamal, and you have every right to them. I am liking Monday morning topics and discussions. Dr. Seaman says, monitor it. Monitor what, Dr. Seaman? What you mean? Thank you. Success planning, yes. Folks, we've got to wrap it up, but we'll come back. You can continue putting your opinions, and we'll share them as we wrap it up. But I think at the end of the day, we have an issue. This firefighter thing highlights an issue, and I'm going to say this, again, another statement that may offend. But I said this after listening to Dr. Seaman on Saturday. I repeated this, and I've been repeating it for months, but I've said it more publicly. Things like this and the governing of the island make me believe, with the amount of Bermudians, Black Bermudians who have left, myself included, I don't think Bermuda's going to be majority Black in 10 years. It's going to be a very different country. Very different culturally. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Daily Play, we'll wrap it up, give our final thoughts as well. Stick with us. Philip Trott, Jamel Hartman.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
I'm part of the SSCP, giving us opportunities to go out and sell, which is what I'm doing today.
One of the most important things I learned in the SSCP is that failure is just a part of being an entrepreneur.
As a vocal community, then you can't go anywhere, can you?
I just believe it's a really beautiful and amazing experience for everybody.
A lot of late nights being up, trying to finalize things, especially for me.
You don't have to do everything at once. Little steps is the key to success.
They helped me go through every step of the way.
It has helped me gain more confidence, so that's one thing.
I'm Marley Spriggs, and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Joshua Allen, and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Trey Robinson Richards, and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Namira Rayner, and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Vincent Darrell, and I am an entrepreneur.
I'm Shayla Swan, and I'm an entrepreneur.
I am Sophia Paxenhan. I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Zion, and I'm a young entrepreneur.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy, Medical House, and Linda's for ensuring we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. Time for the daily play.
I don't know. Right now, I don't know.
Great taste, no alcohol, and Bermuda Trivia now available at various locations throughout the island. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Phil, are you ready?
No.
So who said it? You got it. Help them out, folks. A people without knowledge of their past, history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots.
That sounds like a Nelson Mandela type of thing. Maya Angelou. I feel like a lot of people said that. Dr. King?
It's not Dr. King. It is the Honorable Marcus Mr.
Oh, my mate.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let's wrap it up, folks. Phil, final thoughts?
Hey, man. You know what? We didn't. I don't think we got to touch on the how it affected retail space as much. But the Pride March. But again, to your point, delivery means something. How you say things means something. And I guess if you're not interested in how people accept what you're saying, then don't be mad when if you don't get the support that you're looking for or the response that you're looking for. As far as the firefighters thing, I think without doing too much research into it, I think we have to do better at recruitment. And I still think my idea of some social concessions would be like, when I say social, I'm talking about like, they don't have to pay payroll tax, for example, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or they get some type of subsidy to make it a little bit sweeter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thoughts about today.
Yeah, I'll say this much. There's a better way to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
But I say this from the bottom of my heart. Seriously. There are some causes that are popular and easy that some people jump on board, not because they believe in it, but just because it's popular. Case in point, that Black Lives March walk to nowhere, march to nowhere. That's what I call it. In 2020, June, July, around that time, June. It's interesting. But what's happened since? It was popular for companies and white people. It was popular for people to get on board. But there are causes that are not popular. Causes don't even make the front page, that don't get to make an impact because people don't align with them. They don't value them, and they're not popular. Think about why certain causes are popular. Think about why certain people support certain causes, and you will understand there's more racism than even you could imagine in a small community like Bermuda. Because I tell you what, a lot of people that support those causes, in particular, so I don't mince my words, the LGBTQ plus, have been proven to be racist, some of them. As it relates to the firefighters, I think, this goes along with, again, Carla John says it best. I hope Bermuda doesn't end up like Cayman Islands with less 40% of people who are locals. That's exactly where Bermuda's heading. That's exactly where Bermuda's heading. But Bermudians need to decide. We need to decide if we're going to sit by, watch it, and allow it to happen. Folks, if you appreciated today's conversations and discussions, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these conversations. Again, I don't care if you agree with me or not. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here so that you can challenge my thoughts and that I can challenge yours. Only then will we become a better society for all. Phil, you got some daily inspiration?
Yes, I do. Very inspirational quote today. There is no breeze like sea breeze. I was joking. That's Billy.
I know what. We could go off just like that, bro.
I do have one. I have a real one though. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us.
I always say, folks, most of the solutions to our problems are within. They're within. But we've been trained, we've been taught to look everywhere else. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Philip Trott. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, make it a safe and great.
I still don't have a cup.
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I ain't one of you. I'm good. I do what I'm gonna do. Peace.